A nation of immigrants? Not anymore, says Trump's administration, April 2025. A month that will live in infamy for thousands of foreign students studying in the United States. Why? Because the Trump administration, in all its infinite wisdom, decided to play fast and loose with the lives of these students, many of whom had built their lives around the promise of an American education. The administration launched a full-blown assault on the F-1 student visa program, targeting individuals with a ruthlessness that bordered on the vindictive. With the stroke of a keyboard, thousands of students saw their SEVIS records, the digital lifeblood of their legal status, unceremoniously terminated. This wasn't a targeted strike on potential security threats. This was a blanket attack on anyone who dared to run afoul of the administration's increasingly draconian interpretation of immigration law. Students who had lived in the U.S. for years, contributing to their communities and enriching their universities, were suddenly deemed persona non grata. The message was clear: America is no longer open for business, even to the best and brightest from around the world. And the worst part? The administration seemed to relish in the chaos it had unleashed. What exactly were these egregious violations that prompted such a heavy-handed response? Prepare to be underwhelmed. We're talking about minor misdemeanors, often years old and long since resolved. Think parking tickets, disputes with roommates, jaywalking. One student, Alika Shams from Iran, found herself in the crosshairs of the Trump administration after a disagreement with airline staff over a carry-on bag. Another student, Gene Kashikov from Kazakhstan, had his SEVIS record terminated over a dismissed disorderly conduct charge from 2022. These weren't hardened criminals. These were students who had made minor mistakes, paid their dues, and were trying to build a better future for themselves. But in Trump's America, even the slightest misstep can have catastrophic consequences. The absurdity of it all was simply staggering. The administration was using the flimsiest of pretexts to upend the lives of thousands of innocent people. It was a blatant abuse of power, plain and simple, and it was about to blow up in their faces. The Trump administration may have underestimated the resolve of these students. They may have underestimated the outrage of the American people, and they most certainly underestimated the power of the American justice system. As news of the mass termination spread, a groundswell of support emerged for the affected students. Universities, advocacy groups, and ordinary citizens rallied around them, offering legal aid, moral support, and a resounding message to the administration: not on our watch. Lawsuits began to pile up, challenging the legality of the administration's actions. Over 100 lawsuits were filed in 23 states, each one a testament to the human cost of the administration's cruelty, and as the legal challenges mounted, a pattern began to emerge. The administration was losing badly. The judicial smackdown was swift and merciless. Judges across the country, appointed by both Democrats and Republicans, issued scathing rebukes of the administration's actions. They decried the lack of due process, the blatant disregard for fundamental fairness, and the sheer incompetence of it all. Restraining orders poured in like a biblical flood, each one a stinging indictment of the administration's overreach. At least 54 restraining orders were issued in short order, forcing the administration to put its deportation machine on hold. Faced with mounting legal pressure and a public relations nightmare of its own making, the administration did what it does best: it caved. On April 25, 2025, a mere 20 days after the initial crackdown began, the Department of Justice announced that it would be restoring the terminated SEVIS records. It was a humiliating climb down for the administration, a tacit admission that they had overstepped their bounds. But for the thousands of students whose lives had been thrown into turmoil, it was a victory, albeit a hollow one. Section 5. Lives left in limbo. The human cost of Trump's visa crackdown. The administration's reversal may have spared these students from the immediate threat of deportation, but the damage had already been done. Lives had been upended, dreams shattered, and futures left hanging in the balance. Alika Shams, the student who was targeted over a carry-on bag dispute, was forced to put her studies on hold and live in fear of being deported to Iran. Gene Kashikov, the student with the dismissed disorderly conduct charge, faced the prospect of being sent back to Kazakhstan, a country he had left as a child. These weren't just abstract legal cases. These were real people with real lives, and the Trump administration had treated them with callous disregard. The emotional toll was immeasurable. Students spoke of sleepless nights, panic attacks, and a pervasive sense of anxiety and fear. The financial consequences were equally devastating. Many students lost their jobs, as employers were wary of employing individuals with uncertain immigration status. Others were forced to drop out of their courses, as they could no longer afford tuition without work. The administration's actions had created a generation of students living in legal limbo, unsure of their rights or their future. It was a shameful chapter in American history, a stain on the nation's reputation as a beacon of hope and opportunity. Section 6. Kafkaesque and Schrodinger's visa judges condemn the chaos. The legal drubbing the Trump administration received was not just a matter of judges siding with the students. It was a full-blown judicial smackdown, complete with scathing rebukes and pronouncements that exposed the administration's actions for what they truly were: cruel, capricious, and utterly incompetent. Judge Sparkle Suknanan, presiding over one of the many lawsuits, didn't mince words. She pointedly questioned how students were expected to know their legal status when the government itself seemed clueless. "It's Kafkaesque," she declared, highlighting the absurdity of the situation. Another judge, Judge Ana Reyes, echoed these sentiments, slamming the administration's ambiguity and lack of transparency. "This is not Schrodinger's visa," she quipped. "It's either valid or it's not." These judges saw through the administration's flimsy justifications and recognized the blatant disregard for due process. Their pronouncements served as a powerful reminder that even in the face of executive overreach, the judiciary remains a bulwark against tyranny. Section 7. Shifting the blame, the administration's feeble defense. As the legal challenges mounted and the court of public opinion turned against them, the Trump administration resorted to a familiar tactic: deflection and denial. They downplayed the terminations as mere bookkeeping adjustments, claiming that no harm was intended. When that didn't fly, they tried to shift the blame, claiming that the terminations were based on information received from other agencies, namely the FBI. They painted a picture of a well-meaning administration simply trying to enforce the law, blind to the chaos they had unleashed. The Department of Justice lawyers representing the administration were woefully unprepared for the grilling they received from the judges. They stammered, they obfuscated, and they contradicted themselves, revealing a stunning lack of knowledge about the very policies they were defending. At one point, a DOJ lawyer even pleaded ignorance, claiming that they had no information about the student's legal status. It was a pathetic display, a testament to the administration's incompetence and its callous disregard for the lives it had upended. Section 8. The ABCs of F-1 visas, a system under siege. The F-1 visa program, established in 1952, stands as a testament to America's belief in the power of education and its commitment to attracting the best minds from around the world. It allows foreign nationals to pursue their academic dreams at American universities, enriching both themselves and the nation in the process. Central to this program is the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System, or SEVIS. This database, mandated by Congress after the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and expanded under the Patriot Act, tracks the movements and activities of foreign students studying in the U.S. The Trump administration's assault on the F-1 visa program wasn't just an attack on a few thousand students, it was an attack on the very idea of America as a land of opportunity, a place where people from all walks of life can come to pursue their dreams. By weaponizing the SEVIS system and using minor infractions as a pretext for mass terminations, the administration sent a chilling message to the world: America is closed for business. The long-term consequences of this attack on one of the country's most cherished programs remain to be seen. Section 9. A chilling precedent, the long shadow of Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. The Trump administration's attack on the F-1 visa program was not an isolated incident. It was part of a much larger and more disturbing trend: the systematic dismantling of America's immigration system and the demonization of immigrants themselves. From the Muslim travel ban to the separation of families at the border, the Trump administration has waged a relentless war on immigrants, driven by xenophobia, fear-mongering, and a blatant disregard for human rights. The F-1 visa crackdown was simply the latest salvo in this ongoing assault. While the administration was ultimately forced to back down, the damage had already been done. The chilling message had been sent: America is no longer a welcoming place for immigrants. The long-term consequences of this shift in policy remain to be seen, but one thing is certain. America's reputation as a nation of immigrants has been tarnished, perhaps irrevocably. The fight for a more just and humane immigration system continues. The Trump administration may be gone, but its legacy of cruelty and xenophobia will continue to cast a long shadow. It is up to those who believe in a better America to stand up and resist, to fight for the rights of all people, regardless of where they were born.